Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I am going to show you guys how to make an ultra cool Tron bike. Believe me guys, this one should be easy to make. Of course, you will have to have some curbs. But before we start this video guys, hit that subscribe button and that church bell. And now let's begin. So first of all guys, you're going to need to make a wooden wall or whatever block, but don't use the block that you're going to use, which is going to be marble and neon blocks. So those are the two materials that we are going to need. So that's it, that's all we need. So we can scrap the other metals or whatever. And yes, so first of all, make a wooden wall, as you see, scale it up. As you see, so I would recommend a 22 by 14 by 2 stud panel, I should say. It's not really a block or a cuboid, but yes, without further ado, let's just start. So what you need to do now guys is set your rotate to 15, and we're going to make a circle now. So as you see, so what I recommend you to do is just use any old block. So place a block from the ground, so place 1, 2, 3 blocks, and then place a marble block, or any block that you pick, and of course, place it. Now of course, we're going to need to make our circle, so we're going to, spam the blocks. So as you see, we are going to need match rotation, which is probably not going to work, so yes, sad life. So we're going to have to scale things around a bit, and now of course we have it tilted. So now of course, if we just repeat the process, as you see, we're going to have to make a few turns. So I recommend 2 full rounds at first, but I'm going to do 3. You guys can do 3 if you want. So yes, here you have it now guys. So now of course, scale it up. So before we do that, set your scale to 3. Scale each block up by 3, but we have a little problem though. We have to scale every single one of these blocks you see here, you have to scale to the wall. So we're going to forget the 3 thing and just keep scaling. So as you see, if we just keep going, and as you see, this will take a bit of a while, but it's the quickest way of making a circle. So as you see, we scale to the wall. And as you see, we are scaling them to the middle. Don't forget guys, we have to do 2 of these because a Tron bike has 2 circles. So as you see, we just, we are getting longer and longer now. So we're going to have to scale the biggest block all the way, the furthest block all the way down here, and yes, it is going to take a while guys, but of course if you keep at it guys, you will get there. So as you see, we keep scaling, and yes guys, we are going to have some annoying things to do. So yes, as you see, we just keep doing the circles. So if we just keep scaling, okay guys, we have now done a circle, and yes guys, it's all bumpy. Don't forget, we better save, or we lose our progress. And yes guys, set your scale to 10 and scale it across by 10 studs, because we are going to need it. In fact, no. Scale it back in by another 2, so basically 8 studs in other words, or 4 blocks. And of course, one thing for sure, we better save. So as you see guys, this is a bumpy circle. And yes, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you this guys, and what else you need to do. So, as you see, we got to, well, we're not going to scale out first. We're going to try a few things. So, we need to figure out, like, which scale we need. So, I'm going to try 0.5. And if it works, it works. But it doesn't. So, we have to scale, you know, to the original size. As you see. And now, of course, let's try 0.52. Let's try that. Is it going to work? Oh wait, no. Hang on, that's going to make the corners bigger. So we're going to need to try 0.48. So let's try that. And if it works, that's our scale. And no, sadly not. So let's try, you know, ever so slightly smaller. So let's try 0.47. And this is definitely our golden bar. So we have to do this all the way around. And we are going to need this for our second circle. So remember, guys, 0.47 is what we need. As you see, oops, misclicked. As you see, so this is a quick process. It only takes like 2 minutes to do. So as you see, we are getting there now. And yes, I will make a few boo-boos, which is a mistake, an informal word for a mistake. And yes, that's what British people use, boo-boo. I know. And anyway, guys, we are nearly done, quite surprisingly. And as you see, this is our beautiful circle done. And we are going to need it like this. So now, of course, now we have that done, we are going to need to do another thing, which is to set our scale to 2 and scale each piece out. One by one. I know, it's annoying. But if you could duplicate, I mean, thing is though, that would kind of use more time up. So let's just stick to one by one for now. So as you see, we are already, you know, nearly halfway. As you see. So we keep going around. As you see. So we go around. And now, of course, we are done, I guess. And now, of course, we're going to have to figure out the location of the next circle that we need to do. So what I recommend doing first is placing a block in the middle of the circle. As you see, that is not in the middle. This is in the middle. Now, of course, we need to scale from the middle by 14 studs, if I'm right. No, it is 16 studs. Actually, no. I keep messing up. It's 18 studs, my bad. And of course, repeat the process. And we start again. So we now just repeat the process. Okay, guys. I have now done the second wheel. And as you see, they are both leveled. As you see, so we just better make sure. Yes, they are leveled. And yes, guys, we're going to do the worst part first. And yes, which is to do the outside of the wheel. And yes, guys, it is painstakingly hard facing the water. So yes, you're going to have to set your scale to 10 and scale this board in to the middle. As you see, well, 10 10 on the left and 12 on the right. And yes guys, it is better if we do the worst parts first. Once that's done, it's out of the way, believe me. And yes guys, we're going to do the worst part, so yes, we know that now. And now of course, turn on match rotation. And as you see, press 15 as you go on. So press T, sorry. As you see, press T. And now, we're going to have to figure out an angle here. So, as you see, if we press T twice, and if we press T 4 times on the other, this should give us a nice look. So as you see, we just need to test a few things out. And of course, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be 0.47. It's going to be 0.45 or something. So we got to test it out first. Oh. By the way, guys, while we are doing this, this would also, take off some of your time. So as you see, I'm going to make, I'm going to do this all the way around. As you see, 30 degrees. And of course, we are going to do it to both wheels. And of course, after this, it will be nice and easy. So be right back. Okay guys, as you see, it looks quite weird. And of course it did take me like 5 odd minutes. And yes guys, so now of course we're gonna, have to do a bit of scaling for each block. Shocking, isn't it? So as you see, this one here and the others are like 0.5. So we're going to do it for all of these at first. So we're going to have to try a few things. So we're going to scale them back by 0.5. As you see, we have to do it for every single one of them. And for some reason, I'm coughing quite a lot. As you see, as you see now, guys, it looks kind of weird. And yes, we are going to have to scale them down. So let's try a few scaling. A few scales, I'd say. So let's try 0.2. Does work. 0.23. Does work, but not what I need. 0.24. Close. 0.25. I'm going to live with that. So now, of course, we're going to have to figure out, which is going to be used for which. Now, of course, if we set our scale to 0.05. Now, of course, let's just scale them forward, as you see. And I could live with that. Now, of course, set your scale to 1.23. And of course, as you see, you should get this nice, lovely pattern. As you see, looks really nice. And now, of course, if we do it for every single one of them, as you see, doesn't take long. So please, guys, use your time wisely. Of course, if you're busy, you're busy. And as you see, we are nearly done with the 1.23. I should have done 1.2, but never mind. And yes, we are going to focus on this side for now. And as you see, so set your scale to 0.45, scale them back. And now of course, what was the inside? Oh man, I forgot. So now of course we're gonna have to try again. And of course it is definitely not 1. That is one thing for sure. I am so stupid, I have forgot. So yes. So I know the top part is 0.25. So we are going to repeat this all the way around. Yes guys, all the way around. Which shouldn't take too long. And yes guys, I should have thought about the calculations that I would need so I can figure out the scales that I need. So yes, so I have to live with that. So is everything 0.75? Yes. And yes guys, there is a few things that we need to do. So as you see now, we're going to have to try and, like, you know, make the thing, you know, everything as thin as these, as you see. And of course, I know, we have a gap. But if we make it bigger, we're going to have to do the inside. So yes, we need to do the inside as well. But if we, you know, make it bigger, it will get rid of this line. And it will look nicer. And a lot more professional. So as you see, that is 1. So it's obviously 0.45 that I have used. There's a little problem with this one, which is not 1.5. And yes guys, I just can't believe that a nightmare is just unfolding. Oh, now it just folded, great. Now of course we have to check every single one of them, one by one. I don't know why I just decided to go for this one, but I don't think. Oh yes, we do need. Now, of course, make sure every single one of them is 1.1 by 0. Or in fact, ignore the 0.25. So 1.1 and 1.22 is our important numbers. Oh man, now of course 0.25, so we scale them back. No we don't, that's not it. This is just silly of me. It's 0.45 I think. Yes, it is. So keep 0.45, you know, so leave it as it is. So as you see, we are going to need some, you know, we're going to need to do some scales. You know, some scaling. So as you see, we just do this for every single one of them. Every single block we see here, we have to do every single one of them. And if you make a mistake, guys, it's going to be hard to correct. And as you see, we are getting there. And yes, we are nearly there. And we are so close, we have passed a quarter. And yes guys, this should take like 1 to 2 minutes, and now we are done. Yes. So now of course, as you see, we have this done. So now we have to scale back on every single one of them. As you see, of course, by 0.45. And we have to do the same with this one and with this one. I know it's going to take a while, but you guys will get there. Now, of course, we have to go all the way around. And as you see, we have more than a third done, more than a quarter done, and we are done. As you see, so we have this thin part here, which is kind of ugly. So we have to scale them down by 0.45. And it doesn't seem to work, sadly. So, yeah, so as you see, guys, so if I just scale these by 0.5, now of course everything's even. So now of course, set your scale to 0.2, as you see, and scale them down. So every single one of them down. And yes, make sure you don't misclick, otherwise you'll have serious problems. And as you see, we have more than half done. And yes, this is a quick process. We have more than a quarter done by now. As you see, we have less than a quarter to go. And as you see, we have now done this part, guys. And yes, it was not fairly easy, it was medium, I should say. So, like, not average, but between hard and medium, I should say. So, you know, quite hard to say. I don't think there's a word for it. And yes, guys, now of course we got to do the other ones. So be right back. Okay guys, I have now done the two wheels. Yes guys, it did take me like almost 16 minutes, more like 15 minutes and 30 seconds I should say. Just to, you know, be a bit more accurate. Now of course, we're not going to do body connecting yet. We have to do, yes guys, the nightmarish part. But once it's done, it's done. So I'm going to do a full one for here, and I'll time-lapse the other one. So, you know, I got to show you guys how to do it, because if I don't show you, you're all going to be like, oh, come on, just tell me how you do this, how you do that. So, you know, got to do it. So as you see here, it's 30 degrees. As you see, we want it like that. So as you see, we need a neon block, but if you don't have a neon block, use a block that could, well, a block that kind of stands out a bit. So I'm going to use neon, as you see. So you place it on the tilted block, as you see. And of course I'm going to do 3, just for like, you know, just for any adjustments. So I'm going to place 3 down. And of course, yes, I have to like look into the item. So I place a block, then another block. And as you see, I got 3 done. So let's make some adjustments now. I'm going to set my scale to 0.5. as you see. And as you see, there's some kind of annoying things, but we have to scale it in and make sure it's like not touching the wheel. So I'm going to scale it up by 0.2. Then I'm going to set my scale to 0.8. And then you scale it inside by 0.8. And as you see, it looks like it's floating. And of course, you know, that's what we want. And now of course we make the back thinner, as you see, so it is 0.2 blocks thick. No, 0.4, sorry about that. But of course you can make it 0.2 blocks thick if you want. Now of course we need to make other adjustments. So set your scale to 0.1, and of course from each side scale in by 0.1 until you know you can barely see those annoying corners. And of course I'm going to do the same for the other side. So you know this should be easy for you guys because you just need to repeat the process. Okay, I didn't mean to place another block, I meant to scale it. So as you see, I need to set it to 0.6. So you know I can get, you know, the accurate size. And don't ask me why I'm all lagging here. Okay, now it's gone. Now of course, 0.8. And of course, up by 0.8. Now of course, what else do we need to do? Yes, 0.2 time. And of course, I hope it's right. Yes, it is. Now of course, paint it grey, so you know you can see what you're doing, because if it's glowing red, it can be like a nightmare to do, I should say. So now of course, in the middle, so on the flat part of the wheel that's not tilting, well, going like in a smooth circle as you see. So the part that I highlighted in black, as you see. So yes, so you place it on parts that I highlighted in black, as you see, or whatever, but of course I'm going to paint it back white so I can see what I'm doing. And yeah, so what you do the same, 0.6, but with the height we have to do some, you know, different changes this time. So as you see, same thickness. Now of course we scale it up by 1.6, as you see, and we have to flatten it down from the top by 0.05. And then we scale it across by, hang on, what was it again? 2, so 0.2. And as you see, we get that nice, lovely, you know, curve, I should say. So, in other words, you can scale up, you know, scale it till it goes to 0.2. Hang on, no, it's 0. Hang on a sec, guys. We have a little delay. No, it has to be to 0.4. So, you know, we just scale down again. 0.05 on the top. 0.6 from both directions. Paint the two grey. And of course, we're going to do one more so we know what adjustments we need to make. And it doesn't look like we need it. It doesn't look like we need to. So I'm going to do the last one. And of course, I'm going to do the time lapse. So you guys should know how to do this. It's pretty straightforward. Nearly struggled to say that word there. So yes, it's pretty straightforward. But wait, I'm going to make a little adjustment just so I can save ever so slightly more blocks. And of course, to save blocks, you know, we're going to set our scale to 0.15, as you see. So we scale, as you see. And as you see, guys, we're going to save way more blocks. And as you see, it's like way thinner. So of course, guys, don't forget to save. So every 6 you do, so every 6 of these you do, save. Because, you know, you don't want to lose a lot of progress. So I will be right back. Okay guys, we have got the worst thing done, the worst part over, to be quite honest. Yes guys, it took me almost 45 minutes. It was something like 44 minutes when I looked on my recorder, and yes, it did take a while. Now guys, we need to take this back. Well, we need to make this back to its original size. So I think it was something by something. It doesn't matter anyway. I put it at 28 by 14 by 2 anyway, so I put it back like that. And if you haven't noticed, this scale thing here is 1.06, so we're gonna have to back this up by 0.03. Not that. This. As you see, we back it up by 0.3. Now let's just, do some checks here, just to make it... Hang on. Oh wait, hang on, I'm just going to reload here, guys. So first of all, we want to, oh, yes, I did say. So first of all, we want to make sure it's like, the same size as the wheel length, which is 1.06, so that's what we have to do. We have to make it 1.06, then back it up a bit. So that's what we have to do. So if I scale it to 1 first, well, once it's finished loading, and yes guys, we have the inside to load. Yes, I did save. Thank God for that. Imagine if I didn't save, I'd have to do like another quarter of an hour's work. But anyway, so as you see, we scale it to the middle, and we have to see how much we have to scale. And to me, it looks pretty much okay. And yes, there's barely any differences. So yes, we are good now. So basically we put it over here now. Now of course we have to do the body now. So as you see, I'm gonna, so basically here's the middle here. Yes, that is the middle. So as you see, so basically we have to rotate a bit here because, I'm on a PC, and then we have to rotate it so it's like, so this is 45 degrees rotated, and we need it to be like 15 degrees rotated. So, make sure the lines are like, so basically make sure the corners are, not parallel, connected to, well, not connected, but in line with each other. Then of course we set our scale to 0.5, scale it down, and if this doesn't work we scale up a bit. So as you see, it does work. Now of course we do the same to this. So in other words, how many blocks is it? So it is 4 blocks we have to scale. Never mind, it's 4.5 blocks across we have to scale. So scale it to the wheel, as you see, and we bring this block down by 0.7. Now of course we are done with that, so I'm going to keep it like that because, well, in fact no, I'm going to scale it down another 0.2. So now of course we scale it across by 2 blocks, as you see. And yes, now of course we've got the bottom done. Now of course we have to do the top part. So we have to scale this up by another 4 blocks, and of course we place a block on the middle top, as you see, and scale it down by 6 blocks. Now of course on the bottom of the block we, do some rotating. Let's see, which one fits the best. So as you see, I move across, so, we have this like gap here, and we do the same with this one. So now, of course, let's just see, you know, which ones fits the best. So I'm going to scale up by 1.5, as you see. Now, of course, I'm going to scale it to the wheel, which is 4 blocks. And of course, I'm going to scale it up again by 1 stud. In fact, no, I'm going to keep it like that for now, because, you know, we may have to do some other bits and bobs. And yes, it looks perfect, but the thing is, though, we want it to be like, you know, covering the middle up a bit, I should say. So I'm going to scale up by 1, as you see. So basically, this is how it was. I'm going to scale up by 1 on both sides. And I'm going to scale down to the middle, as you see. So yes, it's not really enough. And yes, it is kind of like tilty. So I'm going to retry. So yes, so I'm going to set my rotate to 5. I'm going to have to, you know, press T for like, you know, press T a lot. Now, of course, I'm going to rotate it so it's like 10 degrees. I'm going to put it, you know, so it's like really close to the block. Now I have to make sure the distance is the same. And yes, it is. Great. Now, of course, I'm going to scale up by 1.5 again and see if it does fit. So I scaled across by 5 blocks. Yes, 5 blocks. So I'm going to try again because I don't think it fits well. So I'm going to scale up by 0.5 blocks again. And of course, I'm going to scale down again by 1.5 blocks. And I'm going to flatten it by 0.3 blocks. In fact, no, I don't think that works. I'm going to flatten it by 2 blocks. There we go, that's perfect. Now, of course, I'm going to make it 0.5 blocks thick, so I just scale down by 0.2 blocks, and then I, of course, scale it by another 2 blocks across. Now, of course, now we have to, like, you know, look closely and just make sure we are happy with it, and yes, it's 90, well, of course, it won't be exactly in line, but of course, you'll barely notice. Now, of course, we need some space for the seat, and yes. Now, of course, we have to do a bit of covering up now, and of course, I'm going to keep this wheel part for, you know, strength, because strength is important. So, yes, I am going to do that real quick now. So, you can now, you know, delete the wood wall now, so you can delete that for good. Now, of course, we just have to, you know, rotate. And of course, I'm going to scale down by, 1 stud, or half a block. And I do the same to the other side. And yes, well, I could set my merging level to red, so, you know, it doesn't fuse. Now, of course, I do the same. And, you know, I just repeat the process. Now, of course, I just, you know, go up with this by, of course, 3 blocks, as you see. So 3 blocks. Well, 3 studs or 1.5 blocks. Then, of course, I'm going to scale it across by a pixel, which is 1/5 of a stud or 1/10 of a block. If I got that right. Now, of course, we just place 2 blocks in the middle. And, of course, a bit of scaling. But, of course, I'm not going to alter them at the moment because, you know, we need to make, like, a board for our seat, as you see. And, of course, while we are doing that, I'm going to place a seat a little bit further back here. And of course we can now turn off, you know, rotate, so we can set it back to 90. And of course I'm going to put it a little bit further back. And we are good. Now of course I'm going to need a bit of, you know, so basically I'm going to place a block, you know, so it's basically, as you see here, you place a block, you know, so it's like, you know, covering a corner up, as you see. So basically, you don't want it to be like this, you want it to be like that. And that's how you want it, and then that means, you know, it's good. Now, of course, we just have to do some checks and all that. And of course, we just do the same again. And of course, we just repeat it on the other side. So as you see, and now of course, we got to do this again. But this time it can be a lot bigger because, you know, we don't want it to, like, you know, touch the wheel because this part is going to be spinning. So yes, I'm going to actually sit down on the chair for now. So while I just, you know, do this. And yes, it can be kind of annoying when you, like, zoom into a block. Because, you know, it has, like, lots of glitching around. Now, of course, I'm going to get off and repeat the process. So I scale down. And then of course I scale it across by 2.7. Now of course, is it going to be touching the inside? I hope not. Good, it's not. And great. Now if I just check the inside, nothing touching, great. So that means I can delete this thin part. Oh, wait, no it does not. My mistake. Sorry about that, guys. But of course, I'll tell you what to do in a minute on, like, you know, what, you know, you need to do with this part. So, as you see, gotta scale this back. Silly me. I know. And of course... Okay, now we are back. So I just do the same to this. So now you just do the same to this one. So 2.7. Now of course check the inside. Make sure it's, like, you know, not touching anything. Great. Now of course we scale it down by 3 studs. Yes, it's 3 studs, I think. Now, of course, we do the same for this side. Now, of course, we just got, you know, this time it's a bit easier because, you know, you're not doing, like, super hard work, like doing this in, like, you know, you have to do it in a circle, as you see. So, you know, it looks nice. Now we do the same thing all over again. And by the way, you can... Now we know we can use 2.7 just to, you know, save pressing, you know, numbers all the time. Now, of course... Now, of course, we scale this up by 2 blocks, as you see. And now, of course, we scale in both directions out by 1 block. No, not 1 block, 1 stud, as you see. Now we scale up by 0.5. And we should be getting a nice Tron Bike. And by the way, you know, this kind of looks a bit too thick, so I was thinking maybe we could make it thinner so it looks a lot nicer. And yes, we should do that. So what I'm going to do, I shouldn't have deleted that, my mistake. But of course, it doesn't take long to correct. So I was just thinking, you know, let's just make this a bit thinner so it looks, you know, less chubby. Because a Tron Bike is not chubby, I should say. Now, of course, we have to do this all over again. So this time it's down to 4, but now we're going to scale it up to 3. Yes, up to 3 now. So, as you see, we scale up to 3. Now, of course, we scale all this up to, till it, reaches this part here. So, as you see, we scale it up. We scale this up. Then we scale this up. And yes, it doesn't look neat at the moment, but we will make it look neat. So we scale them, both of these in by 1 block. Well, this side, for some reason, 2 blocks. Don't ask me why. Now we just check if they're both the same. Yes, great. Check. Yes, good. And as you see, it looks less chubby now, I should say. Now, of course, I'm going to make it 0.2 blocks thinner now. So as you see, we got this, nice looking thing. Now, of course, I'm going to set my scale to 1 and just, do some altering. And we are now good. Great. So, as you see, guys, we are close to, finishing the build now. So we just scale down by 0.2 and scale by 0.2 in both ways. Now we save, just in case, we get disconnected. Now, of course, just, do a bit of 0.2 scaling. And now, of course, I'm going to scale this up by 0.2 blocks. And just to add, a bit of, body strength, I'm going to set my scale to 0.5. Scale these two, these two pieces down by 0.5. And then scale up by 0.2. So, so basically these parts are thick because, you want strength in case you're, daring to go to the end. Now, of course, we want to save. Now, we're going to do like a little mechanism. Well, not a mechanism, but, like to make these spin, and of course we have to do that. So, get a gold block, and of course we have to place it in the middle. So we should try and, try and scale a bit now, so we know we have, the same width and all that, so as you see. So, scale into... cough, 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 sorry about that. So basically, as you see, the block should look like this. So place it anywhere. Well, as long as if you don't have match rotation. So basically, place it on a straight block, as you see. Scale up from the bottom by, 0.1 studs or half a pixel. And the other side by half a pixel. So if you're doing it facing the sea, it would be on your left. So scale in on your left. And this time, it would be... Oh wow, this one's covered. So now, of course, we just do the same with this one. Don't ask me why that one's all a bit weird, but, let's not complain. Now, of course, this one's 1.9. Anyway, guys, so, as you see, I think it was on, one of these curvy parts here, I didn't notice, so, yes, I'm going to place it on a curvy part, and I got this. So I'm going to scale down by 0.1 blocks, and of course I do the same in the other direction, and of course I just have to do some making sure and all that, and of course, yes, it doesn't work. So I'm just going to place a block in the middle. Same goes for this one. For some reason, it's all kind of illegal, I should say. So yes, I'm going to cover it up. And yes, so I'm just going to do some scaling. So basically I'm going to scale them into the middle. And of course I'm going to check if they are in the middle. So now of course, with this one I'm going to scale it so it's on the other side. So as you see, I'm going to make it 1.9, and it seems to kind of, sort of match. So scale both of them out by 1 block, but of course in different directions, so we get the balance. And of course I'm going to check if this one is like leveled, and yes, it is leveled, so great. Now of course, scale them out again by 1 stud. Now of course, place a wheel on them, as you see. So place a wheel, as you see, pardon, and set your scale to 0.5, and make sure it's like, halfway inside the wheel, because, you don't want it to be like, stuck at the wheel, otherwise the wheel won't even turn. Well, it will refuse to turn. Now as you see, we have them connected. Now of course, grab your, strongest block or whatever, and set your rotate to 45, as you see. Now of course, we do the same for the other one. And scale it in by 0.5. So as you see, it should be, so as you see, facing the wheel. So you got like a face facing the wheel. Scale it up by 0.5. Same goes for this one. Now of course we scale up by 1.5. We scale down by 2 blocks. No, not 2 blocks. 2 studs. Now of course we scale down again. So the face facing the wheel down by 1 pixel or 0.2 blocks. Now of course we place another block on the face facing away from the wheel, so it's basically like that, as you see. So it's like that. Now of course 0.5, some connecting, as you see, and now we have done the wheel part. So select the parts that we placed, as you see. So the mechanism parts, make them invisible so you don't see them, and make sure they are binded to the chair. Now of course, let's paint the wheels now. Well, first of all we will paint the wheels, next we will paint the body. So as you see, I'm going to make like a lovely pattern in case you guys want to like do it. As you see, I'm going to do the whites first, as you see. But in fact, no. Since this is a Tron bike, we should really go for blue. Like a glowing blue. Like a really light blue. That would, spark things up a bit more. As you see, we just do a bit of sparking up. And of course, we have to do it on the other side. Well, I'll correct that later. Sorry about my pronunciation. Now, of course, let's do the other side. So as you see, we have the wheel in the way now. So as you see, we have to zoom in a bit and, memorize the pattern. Now, of course, I'd recommend you doing the hardest parts first because, it kind of gets the thing out of the, gets the hardest stuff out of the way. Then, you can peacefully, do the other parts, but, I can't be bothered. So as you see, doing the pattern. And of course, I'm going for light blue and black. So, it should, have that nice pattern on. Oh, by the way, guys, when you're building, paint the neon blocks dark grey, because, at least, you will, be able to see. So now, of course, got to make sure everything was accurate. Yes, good. Or you can just zoom out and just, you know, paint the edge, as you see. Done. Now, of course, let's save, and now let's do the black parts now. So as you see, I'm not going to go for Vanta Black since, you know, it's not really needed. But of course, as you see, it's kind of like, you know, blinding it away. So I'm going to go for Vanta Black, so, you know, so I can, like, you know, see the lights a bit. Now, of course, we've got to do the same for the inside. And yes, guys, Vanta Black. So if you want to get Vanta Black, you set your hue to 0, saturation to 0, and value to 0. And that's how you get your Vanta Black. And yes, that's the only colour I can memorise, Vanta Black. You know, with like custom settings and all that. Since, you know, you just put it all at 0. So now, of course, you know, got to zoom in a bit. Now, of course, we have to do the same for this part now. Woohoo! Now, as you see, we do the same. Now, of course, I think I've made a mistake there, so I corrected it. Now, of course, we just do a bit of painting around. And as you see, we should have, you know, the wheels done. Now, of course, let's move on to the lighter black, which is this one, and paint the body. As you see, so don't, you know, paint those tilted parts here. You know, the one that's surrounding the wheel. And I did accidentally. Unless you guys want it like that, but I recommend you not to. And as you see, I'm going to paint the inside ones. And of course, guys, you can put whatever you want inside here. You know, you could put like a secret seat for a friend, or whatever you want. You guys, you know, it's your dream for this. Now, of course, as you see, we have the body painted. Now we're going for, if this is the right grey. No, it's not. It's a lighter grey. So get a lighter grey and paint all the way around with the curved parts. As you see. And of course, there's a wheel in the way. And yes, guys, I'm going to have to like zoom in for this one, so I'm going to do the same for this one. Just do the same, you know, with the others. But now, of course, we got the, you know, the two worst parts done now. Now, of course, we can do the two easy parts. And as you see, we have now done the Tron Bike, but there's one little thing that we are missing. Better save. We are missing the lights. So we turn on match rotation now and do, you know, those lovely neon lights. So I'm going to do them on the top, so as you see. So I'm going to place a marble block, so you know where, you know, to place the neon block. So I'm going to place a neon block over here, a neon block over here. So as you see, that's kind of wide, so I'm going to move it back a little. So yes, as you see, like that. So I'm going to place them on the two same spots. As you see. Now, of course, I'm going to place it on the other side so I don't forget. Now, of course, paper thin. And of course, and a bit of scaling now. Or in fact, if you want to, you can, you know, just do one side and just, you know, let it curve down. But I'm doing this. So, as you see, what I'm trying to do here is, you know, create like a strip. You know, like a strip. So I'm just going to grab a Tron Bike design. And then, of course, you know, put it onto this one. So I will be right back. Okay guys, so remove the two front lights. So we're going to do like a curve down, but of course an easy one. So scale down by 0.2 from the top, as you see, and make it 0.8 blocks thick, as you see. And there we go. Now of course we scale it till, you know, none of it's showing. Now of course we got to scale it forwards by 0.2. Now of course we need to angle the neon block now. So we angle it in the middle, so it's like, you know, facing down. So we do the same for this side. Now we do the same. Now of course, from the two, so basically from the, you know, so basically from the top and the bottom, you know, facing away from the wheel, and this one facing down away from the wheel. So it's like, as you see, where my mouse, no, not my mouse, my right hand is pointing, as you see. Now of course, oh wait, yes, so basically from here, so we scale them in by 0.4, and then of course, you know, we just do it again. So if I just check on how many we need, so 0.2 again from, you know, the two directions. Now of course we scale them out by 0.2 blocks in the opposite directions, as you see. Now of course we scale it forwards by 2 studs, no, not 2 studs, a block, or 2 studs. Now as you see, we just connect them up. We should have this, like, you know, beautiful design here. Then of course we hide it away in the other wheel. Now as you see, we paint it, you know, with a nice blue. And as you see, we have almost done with our Tron Bike. So basically we have to do like some lights down here. So basically we turn on match rotation for this part. So, you know, we have, you know, the lights, and of course paper thin. And yes guys, we have to do this all the way around on the bottom, and yes, that's going to be kind of a pain. So to speed things up, we set our scale to 0.6, as you see. So, you know, we get it into the middle, and then of course we just rotate it around. So as you see, so when we make it paper thin, you know, we should get this, you know, really nice, you know, pattern, I should say. So as you see, we have to scale it all the way around, as you see. So now of course, as you see, we place blocks. So basically we place a block from, you know, so basically we have to paint, no, not paint it, place it in the middle as we go around, as you see. And of course this is kind of lengthy, but we will get there. Now of course we do the same as we go around. Now of course we just keep placing, so we're almost there now. And of course the quickest part is doing the paper thin part, because, you know, that's pretty easy, as long as you know what you're doing. Now of course I'm going to paint them all dark grey so I can see what I'm doing. Now of course, as you see, I'm going to paint this grey as well so I can see, like, you know, what I'm doing as well. So we save over here now, so, you know, we can, you know, see what we are doing. Now of course we, you know, scale it by 0.6 in the middle, so in both directions, as you see. Now of course this will take a bit of time, but I know we will get there. Oh, and by the way, guys, you can pick your light direction. It's all up to you. But of course, you've got to know, like, what you're doing, and hopefully, you don't make a mess. Now, of course, we do the same all the way around. I know I've said this a few times. So as you see, we are getting there. And as you see, we are now like halfway now. Well, less than halfway. So as you see, we are now like less than a third way now. And then of course, we have the paper thin parts to do now. Well, we have to make it all paper thin. All this here. So basically, we are flattening them. Oops, did not want to click on that. And as you see, we have now made them all 0.8 blocks thick. Now, of course, we're going to make the first 3 paper thin. So, we know what we are doing for, the curvy parts. So as you see, I'm going to set my scale to 0.6, as you see. And of course, that doesn't really look right, since we have a bit of spacing and all that. So we're going to set it to 0.7, so all the way around. And of course it's still not enough, so I'm going to set it to I think it's 0.75 if I'm not mistaken. So as you see, we test it now, and if I'm right, we are good. No, we're not. So it's something like 0.55. No, it's not. 0.5. Yes, it is. And of course, if you want to, just use the scale 0, don't, scale it too far, but just, a little bit, so, no annoying corners pop out. So as you see, I'm going to do some scaling now. So I'm just going to make them all paper thin just to speed up the process. Now as you see, we are getting there now. Now of course, we are less than a quarter away now. And now we are done. As you see, we are completely done now. So now of course, we have to do some finalizing and all that. I think it was 0.65 I used. No, it's not. 0.45. Now of course, if I just check, yes. Now of course I'm going to use the scale 0 on this, because I think this one's going to be like the odd piece. So 0.45 all the way around. Yes. So now of course, we do this all the way around now. Until we hit the bottom. As you see. So now of course, we are getting there. And now as you see, we are done. So now of course we scale this, so until we don't see it. Same goes for this one. Same goes for this one. And yeah, same goes for that one. Now of course, we do the same. Now of course, we now go all the way around. And as you see, we should, be done. Now, of course, we are close from finishing now, and we are now almost finished. So set your scale to 0 and just, carefully scale it across. And of course, we want to scale this to the chair and this one to the end. And of course, we're going to cover this, so it's like almost covered up. And as you see, we have now done a strip for the Tron Bike. So now, of course, I'm going to paint this light strip now. And now, of course, go all the way around. Now, of course, guys, we now save. And now, of course, guys, we're going to have to do, some moving up now. So as you see, make sure you save. Now, of course, we want to make sure, like, no parts fall off, because that would kind of suck. So now, of course, I'm going to put, a wooden rod underneath. And, of course, I'm just going to make sure it's, like, connected. I'm going to unanchor now. Well, make sure everything's anchored first, then unanchor. And it doesn't look like anything's fallen off. So now, of course, we place a piston on the bottom, so anchored piston, remember, so an anchored piston, and let it go up by 10 studs, because all it does is 10 studs, not blocks. So now, of course, we anchor now, and now we have to do like the underside now, which will be invisible. So as you see, I am going to, place something strong underneath, so it's like, really strong, so I'm going to make it, a bit thick, as you see. So then I'm going to scale it down by 12 studs, which is 6 blocks. Then on the sides, I'm going to put, like 2 well, first of all, we need to do the weights, because that's kind of important. And of course, make sure you have enough steel blocks for this, because steel is the heaviest block in the game, not gold. Now, of course, we want to do a 14 by 2 by 8 stud. Well, now it's 14 by 5 points. No, not points. Hang on. A 14 by 5 by 8 stud block, as you see. And of course, we're going to need a few boat motors, since this is really heavy. Yes, I know, it's very heavy. So what we are going to do now is, so as you see, so from the bottom here, we're going to go up by 1.5 blocks and place like 2 gold blocks. Then of course I'm going to place 2 boat motors, facing the right direction, as you see. So the way we want it to propel. Make sure everything is binded. As you see, we shall now make everything invisible. Turn off collision, so until you like fall through. And now, of course, let's give it a test. And now, let's unanchor. And as you see, you get in the seat and see if you can move. And yes, guys, if you can rotate and move, then as you see, you have a really good, Tron Bike. So as you see, we are kind of going a bit slow. So there's another way if you want to do this, guys. Basically, instead of like using boat motors, you use wheels. What you do, you basically like, level it to the bottom of the Tron Bike. So basically the 2 big wheels of the Tron Bike, which are not wheels, they're actually kind of like fixed circles. We then like scale up to a certain amount of blocks until the wheels can touch the ground. And that's what we want if you want to, like, you know, make your Tron bike faster. So as you see, it does take some time to load. Oh look, the loading is kind of cool though. You know, seeing everything like pop up. And as you see, we want to, like, you know, see what we are doing. And of course, I'm going to make it so it's like clear. So what we do now is that we, you know, place a strong block on like the flattest part of the, you know, how can I say, the Tron bike. And of course, I'm going to scale it out a bit, as you see. Then I'm going to scale it up, but as you see, we then have a problem. So the way we are going to fix this is that we scale outwards by, you know, 4 blocks. No, not 4 blocks, 2 blocks. As you see, so we should then, you know, scale up by another 2 blocks, then of course make it 0.5 blocks thinner. Now of course, you know, we now of course, you know, place 2 wheels, so as you see, it's like not as leveled as, you know, as you want it. So set your scale, no, not your scale, to move to 0.5 and place a block. Just checking, yes. So as you see, we do the same. Then of course we make it thinner. And yes guys, we will get rid of all this ugliness. And of course I'm going to connect this up, so you know, it's, you know, has a good grip on it. Now of course we delete, you know, the parts that I just deleted. Make it invisible. Don't forget the wheels here need to be invisible, and hopefully, you know, they go the right direction. So make sure, you know, you test your Tron bike after you save to see if it works. So now of course we've done that. And of course, yes, we need a bit of collision for the wheels. And as you see, we have a little problem. So, you know, we have to, like, you know, do a bit of scaling and check. So this is normal guys, because, you know, this is the first time I've, you know, did this. So as you see, you know, we got to wait a bit, so we have to have a bit of patience. And of course, I think it has to be like 0.2 blocks above the ground for a wheel to properly work, so that's what I'm going to do. So it's going to be like 0.2 blocks below, you know, the fixed wheels of the Tron bike. And yes, it should be coming up now. Now, of course, we just need to make, you know, all the parts visible. And as you see, we have some problems. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to scale this down by 0.2 blocks. Or in fact, yes, you do have to, sorry. So as you see, so it should go down to 0.2. And then, of course, it should be a bit under, you know, the Tron bike wheel, fixed, you know, the fixed Tron bike wheel. Now, as you see, this should do. And of course, I'm not gonna, you know, bother about, you know, the looks for a second, so I'm going to save. Then test it. And as you see, it is hovering above the ground. And for some reason, what if I just delete that? What if I just delete that? I think I know the problem, guys. We used the wrong wheels. So I'm just going to jump back onto my team because we used the wrong wheels. We need the back wheels. So now we know not to use, not to use all of the wheels as front wheels, because we need back wheels. And of course, it's good to test things out. If we don't, then, we're relying on luck then. So as you see, you have to wait a bit for it to load. If you have like fast load on a private server, then you're then good. Okay, so back wheels need to be changed. And as you see, this should now solve the problem. And if it does, we'll call it, complete. Oh, I forgot about this part here. So now, of course, we just remove this. Oh yeah, that's true, I put a part there. And yes, guys, voila, we have now done the Tron Bike. So, to improve the look of it, we just, make things invisible. So now we will make the final change of the Tron Bike, which is to, make those parts invisible. Then, of course, we can call it a finish. Pardon. Sorry about that. I don't know if I called. Sorry, I don't know if I caught a cold, but pardon, and I burped. Sorry about that. And yes, guys, I actually got a new poppet. My sister bought it, and it's in the shape of a rocket. There's only like 6, buttons on it, or pimples, I think, or spots, or whatever they're called. And yes, now of course, we make these invisible now, so we can say a goodbye to them, as you see. Now of course, let's test it out for one last time. Wait, hang on, yes, I did save it in the right slot. Now let's test it out. And as you see, guys, you have now done your Tron Bike. So if you really enjoyed this video, guys, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. Don't forget to leave a like if you really enjoyed this video as well. Anyway, guys, I will see you next time.